This approach inflected with Marxism. I mean, I guess you kind of heard that throughout my presentation, right? And I just want to try to make it a little bit more explicit now. And I want to point out that feminism has a history that's very much linked to Black history as well. And when we, there are those who are reluctant to identify as feminists, men and women alike. And my sense is that feminism is an approach that anyone can use. I can remember when I first wrote Women, Race, and Class I published it in 1981, and everybody started calling me a feminist. And my response was, who, me? I'm not a feminist. I'm a revolutionary Black woman who identifies with working class people's struggles all over the world. I'm not, how can I be a feminist? That feminism that I knew then seemed so narrow and so excluded too much. And as a result of the contributions of women of color feminists, transnational feminists, now we have the category of feminism becoming larger and more and roomier, just like the category of freedom is becoming larger and more capacious. And this category of feminism encompasses and embraces historical contributions of women of color, and it has refigured and refashioned itself in response to critical engagements of those who insist that feminism be anti-racist. I can't imagine a feminism that is not anti-racist. I mean, I know that there are those who call themselves feminists, and, that's another. Well, we used to call the bourgeois feminists, right? They're still around. But I can't imagine identifying with a feminism that isn't anti-racist and in solidarity with the struggles of working class women and men of all racial and ethnic backgrounds. And of course, it has to be transnational in scope. And I guess you hear my timer. So, good. Let me end by saying that this assumption that feminism is only about gender has been the result of a kind of yearning for simplicity, right? That has racialized feminism as white, and that has been responsible for all of these false universals that, we still try to deal with. But the kind of feminism I'm talking about has the capacity to embrace more and more complexity in response to historical circumstances. And I think this is what renders feminism so exciting. This is what renders it so radical. This is what keeps, if you think about feminism, academic feminism, here we are at York University. Of course, there's a, what is the department called here? Women's Studies. Oh, it's called Women's Studies. And I think women's studies is really important. As a matter of fact, I was the chair of the women's studies department at UC Santa Cruz a few years ago. And during my tenure as chair, we changed the name to Feminist Studies Department. Because what we argued was that it wasn't only about studying women. right? And not only about studying gender, that as a matter of fact we can use feminist methodologies to study history. We can use feminist methodologies to study just about any kind of object. And what I was saying that the capacity of feminism to embrace complexity and to work with contradictions. I was talking about, learning how to dwell inside of a contradiction as opposed to choosing. We're schooled as we are with our Western logic. We have to, when we confront a contradiction, we have to choose one thing or the other, right? It's like Obama is in the White House, he's messed up, right? So we have to forget about all those hopes and dreams we had last year. And we just have to be, we have to point out that Obama is the president of the most imperialist country in the world. Well, yeah. That's true. But feminism teaches us how to dwell there and inside of that contradiction, and to work with both aspects of it, and to make it productive rather than, choosing either or. And it seems to me that feminism has been, feminist studies, women's studies have been in a perpetual state of crisis for years, for decades, right? And this instability and these crises are really interesting because they can be productive if we are willing to dwell there within the interstices of the instabilities. Now, I want to come back as I conclude to say that the meaning of Black history, as I see it, is that core of something that we might call the practice of freedom. It's about suggesting alternative frameworks. It's about looking at social reality and imagining a new world. Imagining better ways of living in evolving worlds. Those women back in Montgomery in 1955, who were traveling from their poor neighborhoods to affluent white communities, that is what they did. They collectively imagined new ways of living in evolving worlds. They imagined new human relations, free from persistent hierarchies. And we can say now whether these hierarchies be racial or sexual or geopolitical. I think this is the work of human beings who believe in the practice of freedom. Freedom then becomes not a state for which one yearns, but rather an incessant struggle to remake our lives and remake our relations and remake our communities and remake our futures. And so I conclude with a quote from someone whom we associate with this walk towards freedom, and that is Nelson Mandela. And if you recall, in his